Howdy y'all, welcome back to Black Sheep Meadow. I'm Brent.
And I'm Amber. And today we wanted to show you something in the container garden that has proven to be very beneficial, even though that's not what it was intended. It was
an accidental plant.
It was a volunteer, and it has proved to be very beneficial in our container garden, and we're going to show you why.
All right, so here we are in part of our container garden, and I want to get y'all up to date. This year for 2022, our normal first frost date comes somewhere at the last week of November. Our first frost this year came about 3 weeks ahead of schedule, and since then we've had about 2.5 weeks of warmer weather. Last night we received 3 inches of rain overnight. So here we are in our container garden. We're checking, making sure none of our plants are wind damaged, or some of our plants that are supposed to be winter crop are wind damaged or waterlogged or anything of that nature. When I made a discovery on some of our broccoli plants, we've had a really bad issue with snails, and I've read, putting Epsom salt and salt water, that type of stuff. But companion planting has actually proven to be quite successful on a few of our broccoli plants, and that's what we want to show y'all. Let's get you in.
Okay, so I'm gonna get you guys in here on, this is one of our broccoli plants, and if you can see, it has been like ravished by snails. And it's been a battle, we've been fighting it, we've been trying different things, like Brent said, the Epsom salt, different things trying to alleviate this snail problem that we have in this area of our garden. It hasn't really affected the other area of our garden, container garden, which is the plus on the containers. We have them separated, we can move this bucket out if we need to. That is all a plus in these container gardening. But if you look at it, it is not doing very well. I think it's still going to keep going, but it's definitely not as healthy. But as Brent noticed, while we were checking everything after the storm that came through last night, we've noticed that these broccoli plants right here, with this volunteer plant, if you can get down in there, Brent.
Yep. Now, a few weeks ago, we did, I forget what video it was, but we had a bonus to anybody that could actually guess this plant, right? And one of our viewers actually guessed this plant correctly.
Good job.
So a few years ago, actually the past 2 years, I grew 2 different varieties of tobacco plant here. I believe one was a Kentucky Burley and the second was a Virginia Gold. And it's been over a year since I grew those plants here. But however, in between 2 containers, we had just a volunteer tobacco plant shoot up this year. And I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to yank it out of the ground.
Yeah, it's coming out of the ground, and it grew. And at first we were like, is that what we think it is? And then we realized that, yes, that is a tobacco plant.
And take note that this tobacco plant has survived our first frost. None of the leafy greens on it actually took any damage at all.
And it's actually fixing to bloom. So I will show you guys, if you've never seen a tobacco plant bloom, it is actually a very, very, very pretty plant. It's very unique. So when this blooms, I will make sure to show y'all. Y'all watch for that, because that is something, if you've never seen one, I didn't even realize that tobacco plants bloomed. So that's going to be really cool. So
anyways, we have the tobacco plant here. It was a volunteer. We didn't want to take it out. But I want you to take note from the broccoli plants that were completely destroyed, even on the back side of y'all's view here.
I'll show you. I'll kind of get you over there in a second.
The broccoli plants around the tobacco plant are virtually untouched by the snails. They are like the healthiest broccoli plants that we probably have currently. And the only thing I can put it to is a companion planting. The tobacco plant, naturally, a lot of the leaf eaters, the bugs that eat on the leaves, don't touch the tobacco plant because they can't stand the nicotine. So the tobacco plant is obviously doing wonderful things to keep the snails off of our broccoli plants. So we are definitely going to be using techniques like this in the future for companion planting.
This has reinforced our ideology, our thoughts in we need to start doing more companion planting. So planting this dill.
Spring, we're going to do a lot of dill around our other garden area.
We're going to try to bring that in a little bit more into our gardening. Yep. But this is just really amazing.
Chicken's laying an egg.
Yeah.
Let's get y'all on the other side, look at some other stuff.
Okay, hold on. We wanted to bring you guys in and show you a little bit more while we're in this area of the garden. It was hit pretty hard by the frost that we had a few weeks ago, but the warm weather has...
Amazingly enough, on our first frost, not only was it a frost, we saw temperatures of 29 degrees for just a short period of time, but nonetheless, at 6:30 in the morning, it was 29 degrees here.
But this plant, like a lot of our pepper plants that don't handle cold weather very well at all, have actually, because of the warm weather we've had, have actually started sprouting back. If you look in here, I'll show you guys up close. We're actually re-getting, like this one is blooming back out. And a lot of these peppers that you still see on the plant, we were planning on trying to seed save because these pepper plants did so well. We want to try to grow them again next year from their seeds. But it is amazing how well, like even this serrano plant has come back.
Now, I've noticed the fruit now is not near as large as what we started with earlier this spring, which, I mean, that's to be expected. The plants had a lot of harsh environment with the hot summer and the cooler, the first frost coming really early this fall. Alrighty guys, so while we're in here in the container garden, I did want to give an extra tidbit about this habanero plant. When we purchased this habanero plant this past spring, we purchased it from a local grocery store, and it was probably an impulse buy on my part because we were walking out the store and I'm like, hey look, habanero plant, we have an open spot in our container garden, let's add to it. So when we got the plant here, I had already even had it in the ground when Amber...
I was going through and expecting the garden and, you know, playing with it basically. I noticed some aphid eggs on the backside of one of the leaves, and we thought we had inspected it pretty well at the store. So I killed the aphid eggs. I told Bern about it, and he's like, okay, well, we'll have to monitor it. Well, a few weeks later, I had
an old timer. I was at the shop at work, and I had an old timer tell me we were actually discussing applying a chemical to stop the aphids because obviously we missed a couple aphid eggs, and there was an outbreak of them. And I said, I was thinking, you know, something like a malathion or something of that nature to stop our problem. And an old timer told me, no, do not do that because you're about to kill your ladybugs. And I'm like, okay, well, feed me some more information. Here we go. And he says, well, hey, if you're going to apply a chemical, you're going to kill your ladybugs. There's about to be an outbreak of ladybugs that come in and wipe out your aphids. If anything, you need to find, there's going to be an ant mound near your aphid outbreak that the ants are actually harvesting the secretions off the ladybugs and protecting them. And sure enough, the next day when I came over here to the container garden,
we found an ant bed within 5 feet of that container. So we killed the ant bed.
And sure enough, within just a few days, the ladybugs came in and wiped out the aphids. It was like, I could not believe what I was seeing. I thought, hey, this old guy is just trying to pull my wing here and bluff me out on this, but truthfully, it actually worked and it actually happened.
So listen to your old timers, folks. They have some knowledge that we just don't have and some experiences that we don't have. And
we're gonna do a video just on that. So.
And that plant ended up being one of the most productive pepper plants that we had. And I feel like if we would have treated it with a chemical, we wouldn't have done it.
That,
Not that we're trying to be all organic, we're not, but we try to minimize it. We don't want to put any more chemicals than we have to. And if there's an alternative that is safer, we're definitely going to try that first. But yeah, the habanero plant did not come back after the freeze like some of the bong chow or the serrano pepper did. The rest of them, and I think some of the Anaheim peppers are still coming back, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're very few.
Very few, but we'll see what happens. We're going to let them go until the first frost really kills them. These that I have on here, I'm trying to see if I can get them to dry out on the plant for seed saving, because like I said, these plants did so well. I really would like to try to have those same plants next year. So we're crossing our fingers. That's a first for me. But, you know, it's all a work in progress.
Learning progress every year.
We're always learning, and if you're not learning, you're not doing something right.
So in the meantime,
thanks for hanging out with us.
We'll see y'all next time.
We'll see you next time. Do all the things.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Do all the things, and we will see you next time.